Well, howdy, folks. It's my pleasure to share a little story with you that I've stolen from some southern cousins. And as all good storytellers would tell you, or as all storytellers would tell you, steal gloriously when it comes to good narrative. Once and once not upon a time, I was out checking cows in the summer of the year, just over here on the Dunvegan hill. And I called it work, but it wasn't really work. It was just go check their feet and check their horns and check their eyes and just make sure they're okay and that the grass is green and the water's clean. And nothing I like better. I'd just take a big old walking stick and early on a summer morning walk down Dunvegan Hill, checking cows. I told Betty it was work. Anyway, on this one particular day, I'm out checking cows when I just sensed there was something behind me. I could just tell. Now, have you ever laid in bed and just knew in your heart of hearts that there was something lying under that bed waiting for you? Or have you ever been laying in bed late on a summer morning and just knew there was something in the closet waiting for you? Well, that's how I felt as I was walking over Dunvegan Hill, walking stick in hand, that there was just something behind me. And so I did the only thing that a handsome fella and 200-pound gentleman like myself could do. I looked back over my shoulder, and what should I see but a hooper? Yeah, you guessed it, a hoop snake. Now, to tell you about a hoop snake, snakes, as you know, were meant to crawl on their bellies. God intended all his creatures to crawl on their bellies, snakes. But this snake was a snake with a difference, because it took its tail and it poked it into its mouth and it flipped up like a bicycle tire and rolled and rolled and rolled. And that's what we call a hoop snake. And sure enough, behind me, there was a hoop snake, and it was coming on fast. Well, I did the only thing that a handsome and big fella like me could do. I started to run. Zigzag pattern, mind you, and I ran my best. But even though I was running my best, that old hooper was gaining on me. I could tell because I could smell his sulfury breath. Have you ever lit a match? And you know that smell? You get that particular acrid smell that fills the air. Well, that was the smell of that old hoop snake's breath, and he was gaining close. And when I glanced back over my shoulder, I could see his beady red little eyes gaining on me, just rolling and rolling and rolling, like hoop snakes like to do. Well, I probably didn't mention it, but I used to play ball in the bigs, and I was quite a hitter. And so enough of that zigzag pattern. I did the only thing that a big old fella like I could do. I stopped, I turned around, I took my walking stick, and I swung at that old hoop snake for all I was worth. And you know what? I caught him right in the mouth. He took his little mouth, his snake mouth, and he stuck his two little fangs directly into that walking stick. Gave it a good bite, and then dropped down onto his belly and crawled on out of there like snakes are meant to do. Well, I may not have checked the cows that morning, but boy, did I have a story. And I couldn't wait to get back to the house here and tell Betty about it. And that's exactly what I did do. But as I was coming back home, I could feel a tingling in that walking stick. And not just a tingling, but I could feel a swelling as that stick expanded and got bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, by the time I got to the house, I swear that walking stick was about the size of a small poplar tree. I leaned it up against the door and I called to Betty, who was busy watching a soap, I might add. I called to Betty, I said, hey, you got to come out here and see this, because I have got a story to show you. And by the time Betty got out to the door, that walking stick was about the size of a barrel in width. Well, it was obvious to both of us what had happened. That was a poisonous hoop snake. And it had injected poison into that wooden stick. And that stick was swelling as a result, and it just kept on swelling. So right away, Betty and I and the kids got a darn good idea. Why not throw that stick into the back of the old shed, go off to the vicious sawmill, and get it cut up into boards, because we were itching to build ourselves a little chicken coop. Well, you know, that's exactly what we did do. And by the time we got to the vicious sawmill in Heights Creek, I swear, that little walking stick had swollen to the full size of the back of that truck box. It was that big, I swear it's true. Well, Zavisha cut up those boards, and proud as punch, the kids and I returned back home here on Dunvegan Hill to build ourselves a chicken coop. Well, 4 days later we had one. Beautiful chicken coop. But you remember last summer when it started to rain? Well, just when we got finished our chicken coop, it proceeded to rain and rain and rain. Buckets and buckets and buckets of rain. And you know what happens? Have you ever nicked yourself on your hand? And maybe your mom said you better go soak that hand and draw the poison out. Well, you can see where I'm going with this story. Because that old chicken coop, as that rain touched it, started to shrink. And you know, my friends, if you ever come visit, you ever come for a tea, or if you ever come for a ride with my team of mules, you just turn in out there on the road. And the first thing you'll see over by the shop is a doghouse. Guess what? That doghouse used to be our chicken coop. And if the fiddle string hadn't broke, why, you and I, we'd be dancing still.